Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to OCC Podcast. This is number 9, I believe, and I am here, Nathan Stubby, as always, joined by my co-host, David Jensen, and our special guest today is Mike Mende. Mike, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
It's good.
And want to start us off?
Yeah, for those that don't know, Mike is not only just a OCC member, he is the man behind, technically, OCC. He is also from our local area. He is our coach, our mentor in arm wrestling, and so much more. He leads us kind of as a group, giving us ideas and ways to better ourselves in arm wrestling, techniques, and everything. He also has multiple years in as arm wrestling. Mike, how did you get into the sport? Give us a bit of a backstory.
Well, it started probably a little bit before 9 years ago. I had a buddy that was really competitive that I worked with, and I was out of shape at the time. And there's a hill in Kitchener that it's called Mount Trashmore. I can't remember the actual specific name behind it, but he kind of bragged how he would do really well on this hill. After a night shift, he would go there and he would do hill runs to get in good shape. Well, I was out of the area. I worked for a bit doing different activities, so I put on some pounds and I came back, and I'm very competitive, so I wanted to get into shape, and so I came out the first time and I did like one hill run, and after that I think I was toast. I was puking. So by the end of it, he was like, well, I guess you're not coming back, right? I'm like, I'll be back. So anyways, we, rain or shine, it didn't really matter what season, we did this for, I think, almost 3 years straight. We went to this hill, and we did hill runs, we did different physical activities to get in shape. But anyways, this guy, he tried to get me into, I think it was like jiu-jitsu or something like that, and I wasn't really convinced, and he started talking about arm wrestling the one day. I'm like, arm wrestling's not a sport. So anyways, we did kind of after shift, we did a little bit in the break room, and my arms were just rocked. They were so sore. But anyways, like I did a little with my buddy after shift, and that was like all I did. I didn't realize there was clubs, so I kind of searched on Facebook, and at the time I was living in Kitchener, so I tried to look for the local group, and I came across a group, and a good group of guys, but they didn't really train too often, kind of inconsistent. But shortly after that, I got introduced to London, so I would travel to London to pull. But no, that's how I got into it from my buddy.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you have a strength background before that? Because you're definitely not the smallest guy around. Like you tend to be physically fit. Well, as you shared earlier, you did some exercise, but did you do any kind of lifting or anything before that?
I was into strength. I was naturally pretty strong. I did do quite a bit of weightlifting, and I kind of got bored of that. Even when I did start pulling, I was still working out a bit, and then I got more interested in pulling, so eventually I was just doing pulling. I wasn't doing any more weightlifting because it is beneficial, but if you ask some of the top guys, they'll tell you that pulling is the best way to get better at, to be a better puller. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on for quite a few years now.
Yeah, for sure. When you look at the guys you've pulled with for many years, also that speaks huge to their method in arm wrestling, like gentlemen like from the London club, George Izakowicz or Crazy George, and Rick Barbet and stuff. I know recently I was seeing a video somebody posted somewhere of back in the day, Rick Barbet having even matches like with Gary Goodrich and stuff. And everyone knows he's like a multiple-time world champion. What are tips and tricks and things you've learned from them over the years, as you definitely trained with them for many years?
I think Rick only got introduced to London years ago. He was in London, then he got he got pushed away because I think there was some beef with some people. But then he got back into it about 5 years ago. But just consistency. In the beginning, your arms take an absolute beating. But if you stick with it, like getting a really good start, being aggressive, it's super important. Just to set up very minimal things make huge differences. Like when I look to where I was in the beginning, I was basically just trying to catch because I got a big jolt on the outside of my arm. I don't really get those jolts anymore on the outside of the arm, so anyways, hitting I think is huge. Hand position, they taught you that, and of course Crazy George, his thing is don't never give up. That's his thing, so that's kind of what stuck with me too. So that just really long practices and just beating each other up. I don't know, it's an adrenaline rush. I don't know, you just love it.
Yeah. And you mentioned you catch people, or at first you caught people.
Yeah.
Is that more of your style that you lean into, or did you also do a lot of hitting, or?
In the beginning, I didn't hit at all because, like I said, it jolted the outside of my arm really good, and I was just worried that something was going to happen. It was going to break or something like that, and I really don't want to take time off work. So, anyways, eventually it stopped hurting.
Okay.
And then just practicing more starts during practice, eventually I just got a pretty good hit. So a lot of the time I will flash pin guys, but yeah.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Definitely in my match on Saturday, I had to give it all not to quit. I figured I might not be the stronger guy on the table, but I'm not gonna quit. I know there was a lot of times where I was in pretty bad positions.
Yeah, you were really close to that pin line.
Yeah, I was like so close, and I'm like, there's no way I'm giving this one up. And there's a lot of things I've seen from the match, just watching it back, how I did multiple things wrong. I could have ended the match so much easier watching it back, but in the moment, you don't see those things and stuff. And what are matches that you've had over the years where you've gone back and afterwards thought it was a tough match, or you lost it and you're like, if I would have just changed up a certain position? Because now, as everyone in our club knows and everyone in Ontario, you're ranked number 3 in I think 242 rankings in Ontario, right? So pretty highly ranked in Canada, and obviously to come to that kind of a level, you've had wins and losses many times over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of your probably a pretty big win recently was Earl Wilson, probably like 6 months back or something, maybe a little more.
Yep.
And he's a well-known legend over the years. And getting that win, what did that do for you? And then what are your methods that you've done when you have taken losses, and then to come back either in a tournament or a super match to change up things?
Yeah, my win over Earl was pretty awesome. Probably about a year before that, or maybe 6 months before that, I pulled him and I wasn't able to slip to get into the strap, which is normally my goal. And the referee called me on a slip and losing position, so I took it with a feather and I just kind of carried on. And next time around, I was able to get that slip, but for the first many years, like 3 or 4 years, like I lost a lot, and that is super depressing. And that deters many people from coming to practice more often. They think just because they're losing a bunch that they should just give up. They should just find something else. And it's phenomenal to see how many people, they don't come back to practice because of how it sucks to lose. And I don't know, because I love the sport, that's why I kept coming back, because I didn't really care for working out anymore. I just really liked arm wrestling. And it just beats up on your arms. And but no, there's been some other matches. Ray Belmore, he's super strong. He's much taller than me and like significantly stronger than me, but I've been able to beat him a couple times in a row now, but before that I couldn't really touch him just because I couldn't slip out of his hand. His hand is just huge, but these past couple of years, I think I've pulled more in tournaments the last couple of years than I did the previous 7 years, just because of work, shift work. You always have to book time off work, but the way we book holidays is we only book once a year, so to have to change up your schedule for work to try to book a weekend off for a tournament is really tough to do. But no, it just kind of worked out that I was able to book a couple weekends off and a couple days off that I could make a weekend out of it, because if we got to travel a distance, then I like to stay the night before and the night of, just to make it a little bit more of a relaxing experience, because to pull that day and then come home on the same day, it's grueling, especially when you're older. I'm not sure when you're younger, because I didn't pull when I was in my early 20s. I didn't start till I was 33, so it just takes a toll on you, driving all that much. But
yeah.
So this gives a perfect segue into another question I've thought, and obviously me and you, us as a team, we spoke of it many times. You started in your 30s, which is a man that we know very well and is a world champion, also started in his 30s, and he's known as the king of side pressure. And you also have that very similar style, obviously probably not at his level, but a very similar style to that. As people that know you will see and stuff many times, you'll lose your wrist slightly, but you'll be able to keep your coordination and hit through that. What are the ways that you have strengthened that over the years, and what is it just certain people that can have that technique and not everyone's going to be able to train that even if they do certain training methods, or is that just kind of like a joint gifting and stuff, or how do you feel?
Yeah, Todzilla is awesome. I definitely watch his matches, and the way he dominates people that have like superior youth and like strength compared to him, and he gets through that match is just amazing, especially at his age. But no, it's a huge compliment to get, like people have said, like the king of Ontario side pressure. I'm like, all right, man, that's cool. You don't really think of anything like that, but I think I got that from being in the losing position. Like how I said, the first bunch of years, I would just catch people. I would lose my wrist, but I would catch them, and I would just hold it like inches above the pin line, and I wouldn't give up. I would just hold it there for long periods of time. And the way I would get back into the match is I would kind of just push back to the center as much as possible. And then as long as I got the strap, I'm able to connect everything together, and I could kind of surge through, because that technique I wouldn't recommend to new people ever, because so much bad things can happen. But I think I've just developed pretty good now that I can surge like that, and it's worked well for me the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because even just seeing the match you had on Saturday is even versus another guy that is ranked less than you. You obviously let him get into the match to a certain extent. I don't think, like, I've seen some of the rounds where you really just hit through, and then one or two rounds where it kind of looked like you gave a little bit more, like you weren't trying to go, and just him being able to turn up your wrist a little bit, and then you were just able to, through that strap, just constantly hit, and I'm like thinking, like I'm sitting there, like my joints would be blowing off my body, like I'm like, there's no way I could do that, and it's a consistent hit, and that I don't know how to do that, train that. So that's why I was just wondering, like, is it something that's kind of almost genetic that certain people have a joint where they can do that, or if it's just training over time? That's very interesting.
Yeah, I think it just kind of developed in time. Like, were you referring to the match with Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Josh has an amazing top roll, and we've had some, I wouldn't say we had any matches like that in the past. We did a left arm match a couple of years ago, and it was close, but I think he beat me, but no, I couldn't touch him anymore. He would just dominate me on the left arm, but no, just surging through over the years. I get to a certain area, like when we get the match going, typically the stronger guys will pull me back so that I'm in the losing position. So if I get to losing position, I'm going to surge back to the center. If I get back to losing position again, I'm going to go back to the center with that side pressure. Eventually, the other guy tires out, and then I pull it a little bit more towards my side and in the winning position, and then typically either they give me their wrist eventually, so then they open up, and then I know it's over for the most part, but sometimes they'll try to hook me last minute, and I got a pretty decent hook, so I can beat guys like that. But no, like it's purely just developed from pulling from the losing position over many years. I don't like to get to the losing position, but I normally end up there with the top guys, and I got a decent record the last couple of years with beating them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, with different people having different hand strength and just wrist strength and everything, being able to connect those things, and then a lot of times they have less of a bicep power to be able to stay tight. I feel like that really is an advantage when you can hit through that and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think training, let's say, weights versus actual like practice pulling, how do you think that develops? Because I know Evan Van Itterson, he doesn't really do any weight training, but he's incredibly strong for his age and weight class and whatnot. And I do a lot of weight training, and I do some pulling now more, but how do you think, in your experience, did you do a lot of weights, or was it mostly just pulling?
Personally, I haven't really done many weights for about 5 years, I would say. Outside of pulling, outside of work, I'm not really very ambitious unless I'm with a group of guys like reaching on each other's arms.
Yeah.
There's even a workout area at my work that I can go to if I wanted to, but after a 9, 10, 11 hour shift, I just don't really feel like working out. But 100% there's some awesome stuff you can do to complement for your arm wrestling. I should do some of that stuff because I know I could be a little bit better, even quite a bit probably better than what I am now. But no, I think it's definitely beneficial to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the safest way to start out as a beginner arm wrestler?
The safest way to start out, I would say just come to a club that's very supportive. You get some guys that, if they're stronger than you, they just reef right through your arm. The newer guys, they don't really learn anything from that. They just get bummed out and they don't come back for the most part.
Yeah.
I could name a couple names, but I'm not going to. But there's always a couple guys that are like that. But you know, if you come to a club and you get set up and square off your shoulders, and if you have somebody watching you while you pull for the first many times, it's definitely beneficial. It's not going to take away all the pains. There's still going to be pains no matter what, but if you get into a good club, they'll show you the way. There'll be a couple of good guys in there, and they'll teach you how to arm wrestle properly.
I also think it helps with weaker guys in the club. Obviously, everybody's still strong, but just even having people like me in there where you can fight and you could even take it, or just, you know, if somebody else stronger tires them out, and you can feel what it's like to win without them actually giving it to you. Because I know, like, when I first started, I was mainly just training with Evan and Joel. And, yeah, of course, they let me have it, but I never really had any wins. I never really knew what it felt like to win. And I was really just holding all the time. And I think just having people like me and like others just to have at a lower level really encourages people to come into it.
Yep.
I think that's helpful too.
With starting a new club, obviously, I would consider us as an OCC club. Since the beginning, you've been there, and I know we still interact a lot with them. starting a new club, what do you think about it, and what do you think for others out there thinking about starting a club and they only have a couple guys and people aren't consistent? What are your thoughts on how we've got it started? I've been pretty impressed with the amount of guys we have consistently coming out in the last 8-9 months, whenever we've been doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, it was good because we had a good group of guys to start with. A couple of guys didn't really want to travel to London because that's where I train on Sundays all the time, but I would come Sundays and Wednesdays, but it would be a little bit too much of a time constraint, the travel time. I knew there was a couple of strong guys in the area, and typically the younger guys, they had a little bit more of a contact base. Yeah. You guys go to the gym and stuff like that, so you can spread the word and all that kind of thing. So that's fantastic to see. That's probably been the most helpful. But like Riley's dad, Andy, I wish he would come over more often, but he's got his own stuff going on right now. But I wanted to get Riley involved too, and it's fantastic that we see him all the time now too, that he's into it. But no, it was the same for him. I don't think he wanted to go to London because I've offered him to come in the past, but it is very time consuming, and I know people have a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But if you can have a younger group, it's ideal, I think, but that's not necessarily the end game or the thing. But having people in the area that you kind of know that are interested, that'd probably be a pretty good way to start.
I know I was very impressed with the way it took off so quickly with us starting. I met you, and then we got talking, and then I know you spoke with Andy and Riley, and then kind of Joel and Evan, and then it just slowly took off. And it was super helpful for me because I knew of London, and I wanted to go out there many times, but it is, like you said, time consuming.
Yeah.
Me having a young family and stuff, not always wanting to drive that. I want to be able to spend more time with the family. Now I'm able to come home from work, have dinner, whatever, shower up, and it's super convenient for me.
Very convenient.
I can just walk outside, obviously, as we practice now in the garage. But yeah, to have a group of guys and everyone that I can trust, that's huge for me too.
Yep.
Everyone that comes out from Tillsonburg and everywhere in the area so far are an awesome group of guys. Super trustworthy, and I think to build off of a group that is, you know the guys, you get to trust them, and to know also to communicate if you are ever injured or arm wrestling or you're sore, you can say, hey, today just like we're gonna go gently on me or whatever, and not have all those practice champions. I feel like we don't really have practice champions so far in our club. I know you hear about them a lot, and I'm sure the day will come when those guys will show up here too, but being able, I feel like communication's huge, and I feel like you've been really able to lead the way in our club so far in these early stages that you just talk and you show each other, and you don't have to win. Winning's not the main goal during practice. Practice is strictly to get better, up your IQ level.
Yeah, I find both of you know so much. Of course, you have the experience. He has got tons of knowledge too, and it's just having you guys as mentors is huge for me too. Like it's close, way closer in London, and yeah, you have people that you hang out with more, or you arm wrestle more, but just having mentors that are experienced and knowledgeable so close is great too.
Yeah, there's so much stuff you can go over at practice. You've had a couple of super match events, which is very important. We don't really do too much of that in London. I know we probably should do more, but just the experience of setting up and two experienced refs kind of doing exactly what a ref would do in that kind of scenario is huge, because in practice you don't always do that, but doing all those things is all key factors into being a really good puller.
No, I know that as well, and I fully agree. And I remember when we first started, you said we'll first pull for a couple months, and then we should do some of that. And then I really feel like it's helping me out with doing some of those. Some we even do just on a random Wednesday. Not even, it'll kind of be like a super match, but it's more like just ready go with one person. It's not that we care, but it's gaining that experience, right, and that level of confidence to where you can try to gain control of a match, or you completely lose, but it doesn't matter. It's because it's growing that experience, and it's with people that you know, and you can trust that they're not there to hurt you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even just like, especially with the most recent one we've had, where you have all these people, for me at least, that I don't know, a lot of them. And it's just the nerves of going up there and like, I've never met this person. It's the same as at a tournament that I go to, and now I've got to pull against him. So the feeling is almost similar to a tournament, which I really liked about this past one. And it was just, trying to get those nerves out because you know where you're going to be. You know you're in a safe environment. You're not trying to get some sort of title or anything. And just connecting with the community, getting to know everybody else, and then also just having no huge overhead of this actually matters type of thing. I found that really awesome about our super matches,
Oh yeah, we've had some really good progress so far. Had some pretty consistency, and the guys pulling up, and that's great too. But Facebook even is really good. Like I've developed like a Facebook base over the years, and like Adam Vandal, for example, he comes from over Simcoe Way, and he brings a crew out. Introduced a couple other people, and then we have Rick Wall. He's over in Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
He's super busy at work as well, but he can come out once in a while, and he just a terror. He's so strong.
He's ridiculous. Every time I pull him, he's like just like playing with me, and that's when he's letting me have it. He's like, "Yeah, you can go now." I'm like, "Yeah."
No, he's been healing pretty well too. I think with his right bicep. We had that match. Obviously, you guys know about the match that we had. He felt something, and at least he gave up at the time because we were having a pretty intense match, and we were supposed to be just going easy, and then he knew something went wrong, so he went to the hospital and he got diagnosed. But I hope he comes back strong soon because he's got a really good, right arm and left arm. But my right arm is what I take pride in for the most part. So if I can get some good matches with him on the right, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and that power level is hard to find too because there's so many new guys and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like when you're at the level you're at, is it hard, like at the end of practice, do you still walk away, especially with a newer club like ours, with a sore arm, or is it kind of just like a blood flow day?
It's more like a blood flow day, or I'll use like a band or something like that to get some work in. I don't know, I find you're only truly sore if you get opened up. I don't really get opened up too often, so I don't really get too sore anymore, but when I come here on Wednesdays, typically it's for blood flow for the most part, but if we get a nice band again, we'll attach that up, and I'll get some more tough training in. But no, I can just grip a little bit lower too, and that still pushes me really hard, which works just as good for the most part. I don't mind doing that either.
We'll have to start doing 2 arms.
I don't know, 2 arms, but I'll grip low, and I know you guys are strong as it is.
Well, did you have anything else?
I'm not sure. There's a couple upcoming events. There's the Belleville one. I'm not sure what that one. I forget what that one is about.
Is that nationals or provincials?
That's provincials.
Provincials. Are you going to that or no?
I'm going to that one for sure.
Okay, and that's May 12th. Something like that.
Somewhere in the middle of May.
I think it's like the 17th or so.
Okay. Yeah. You going?
No. Busy that weekend.
That's unfortunate.
There's provincials in May, and then nationals are in June or July, I think it is. I might be going to that.
No.
No, Regina.
Regina.
Okay.
Yeah, Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
No, what Adam was just saying the other day, if you're in Winnipeg, it's also flat out there that you can see Regina, Saskatchewan from Winnipeg. That's maybe where you got it.
Okay, that's, well, I was just scrolling the chat and like, yep, okay, see a couple names. But,
After that, it's still pretty busy in the summer. Like, I haven't seen all the events. Maybe they haven't all been posted yet, but.
yeah, it didn't seem too full when I checked last, but I'm sure there's got to be more.
I'm sure Table Monkeys will start dropping.
Yeah,
soon. Cats will probably have a summer one again.
Right.
I did get an invite to TAWF, Team Arm Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
I did like an application form, I think yesterday.
Nice.
I sent it back to Jason Constantine.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure how that works. I know, I think Josh got an invite too. I texted him and he said he got the invite and he did the application and sent it in. I guess we'll hear back. Something to do with Toronto versus Montreal or something like that.
Oh, that's pretty.
Not exactly sure how it works, but
That's awesome. That's the Team Arm Wrestling Federation.
I think that's in November, I believe.
Oh, so it's still a ways out.
So it's waiting.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to come out and watch that.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be a fun event.
Yeah, if you guys are in it, that'd be awesome.
I'm guessing there'll be a tournament with that then too.
I'm sure there would be.
Yeah. That'll be on the MAC table.
Yeah, I wonder if there would be another Mac event.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it is or not.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More videos will be dropping soon. Have a good night.